and good day, pre-algebra. We have reached the end of Unit 3 already. This one was kind of a quickie, and it focused on expressions and equations. And the culmination of solving equations, for now, is solving what's called a two-step equation. If you look back or think back to PO16 and PO17, in PO16, we learned what to do when there's addition or subtraction in your original equation. In PO17, we learned what to do if there's multiplication or division in your equation. Look at what we get to do in PO18. What operations are in this equation right here? 5n plus 7 equals 32. We have, Tony? No. We have addition and we have multiplication. Okay? Folks, 3, 2, 1, you are quiet. These are called two-step equations because you have two steps to solve them. You have two operations to undo in order to get n by itself. So you look at this, and as Tony said, he sees addition. The opposite of addition is subtraction. Okay? And we've got the same equation down here for our first example. So if you want to start to write in that section, I'll scroll down once we're done up here. But what's our first step going to be? If we see addition in the original equation and the opposite of addition is subtraction, what are we going to be doing first to start to solve this? Kylie? Subtract what? In this case, 7, right? Since we're adding 7 in the original equation, we're going to be subtracting 7 to undo that. Okay? Then we look and see that we're multiplying, right? 5 times n, and the opposite of multiplication is division. And those are your two steps for solving this. Okay? What does the original equation have? And then what would the opposites of those operations be? So let's do that down here with this 5n plus 32, or 5n plus 7. Same equation here, okay? 5n plus 7 equals 32. We said our first step was going to be subtraction. Draw your railroad tracks in if you want to, not necessary, but some sort of work is. So if you don't draw the railroad tracks, show me that you're subtracting 7 here. Why do we have to do it to both sides again? What was the rationale for that? Why do we subtract 7 from both sides? Why not just the one side with the n on it, Jeffrey?
It's the rule that you have to do the same to both sides.
Yes, we have to keep this equation balanced, right? If we only take away 7 from one side, it's not balanced, okay? My kids always complain when something isn't fair, right? This is your chance to make things fair, okay? What we do to one side, we must do to the other. So 7 minus 7 cancels out. That equals 0. That's why we do it. And on the other side, 32 minus 7 equals 25. Okay? Now we're looking for 5 times what number equals 25 so that when we add 7 to it, we get ourselves to 32. And as Griffin said, the opposite of multiplication is division. So we're dividing both sides by 5, and n is 5. Here's where some of you who were able to do 16 and 17 mentally, you might start to not be able to do these types of equations mentally. And so the process is going to be important, that you know, what do I have? What do I need to do to get n by itself? Of course, you will check this as well. Take that value for n, plug it in for n in the original equation. 5 times n plus 7 equals 32. How about 5 times 5 plus 7 equals 32? Does it? Yep, it does. 5 times 5 plus 7 does equal 32, so you know that you're right. You do need to check your answer. On Monday, I'm going to remember. My noggin will be working. Remember. I'm going to remember to check. Yeah. Okay. All right. Next one. 2n plus 17 equals 25. What are we going to be doing here? You say 6. It's not 6. I hope you checked. What are we going to be, folks? What are we doing here? Our first step to start to solve for n here. Griffin, subtract 17. Okay? Draw the railroad tracks if you want to, if they help. But the opposite of adding 17 is subtracting 17. Okay? 17 minus 17 equals 0. It cancels out. 2n is equal to 8. What's our next step? What's our next step? Carter? This says 2n equals 8. What are we going to do to undo that? Divide by 2. And n equals 4. Okay? 8 divided by 2 equals 4. Checking this, does 2 times 4 plus 17 equal 25? 8 plus 17 is 25. It checks out. It works. Okay? It works. Next one. 12n minus 5 equals 91. What are we doing first? Kylie? Yes. Okay. I heard someone say divide first. The correct order to solve an equation, because you're undoing the operations, you're doing the opposite. We just talked about PERMDAS in a previous objective, PO3 maybe, something like that. When you are working through an equation to get an answer, of course, you start with parentheses, move to exponents, radicals, you work through the order of operations. When you're solving for a variable, because you're undoing the equation, you work through PERMDAS backwards. So you start with any addition or subtraction to undo it. Then you go to any multiplication and division. Okay? That's a plus 5. Sorry. My plus sign doesn't have good horizontal distance there. Okay? Plus 5. Right? And it is that way because -5 plus 5 equals 0. They cancel out. On the right side, 91 plus 5 equals 96. And now we're going to be dividing by 12 to get n by itself. And 96 divided by 12 is 8. Okay, check that. Does 12 times 8 minus 5 equal 91? This is a great time to pull up the calculator, plug that in there, see if it works. Okay, and it does. Okay. The last one sometimes kind of sends kids on a little, I don't know, lack of confidence. They don't know how to do it because it's written backwards, right? Your variable term isn't written first. That's okay. Okay? That's okay. You still start with this number without the variable. Okay? Notice how in each other one, when we started with that addition or subtraction, it was always the number without the variable, called that constant. That's what you're going to start with here. And the opposite of a -9 is a +9. So we're going to add 9 to both sides. And you've got to be careful here because that subtraction sign in this -10n, it belongs to the 10n. So when you bring this down, right, those cancel out. When you bring this down, it's a -10n equals 50. That sign's got to come along with it. It belongs to it. It's a subtraction sign, yes, but it kind of doubles as a negative sign for that 10n. Okay? Jeffrey? Sure. So now we've got -10n equals 50. Okay? What are we going to be doing to Tony? Divide by what? Nope. -10. Okay? Divide by -10. Because a -10n divided by -10 equals +n, and 50 divided by -10 equals a -5. All right? I'm going to see what's coming up next without erasing all my work. Ooh, struggle bus is real. Ooh, more stuff. Okay. Okay. Questions on that so far? Okay. How is the second row different from the first? Tony? Sorry? Fractions, which means how's that going to change what we've been doing in the top row? We're dividing in the original equation here now, right? So instead of this step of division that we did in the top row, what's that going to become now? Multiplication, okay? We still start with that number without the variable. We still start with that constant. Our first step here is going to be to subtract 13. Okay, that first step doesn't change. It's just what operation is being done, what undoes that. So then we get n divided by 4 equals 2. Okay, question? I did. Thank you. Yes. Let's finish this one, then we'll go back to that. Okay. Can you tell who didn't check their answers when they were in middle school? And that would be me. Okay. Anyway, so we have n divided by 4 equals 2. What is our next step going to be now? It says n divided by 4. What is the opposite of that, Wyatt? We're going to be multiplying by 4. Okay? That's going to cancel these out, and n is going to equal 8. When you check this, n divided by 4 becomes 8 divided by 4. 8 divided by 4 is 2 plus 13. 2 plus 13 is indeed 15. Going back to this last one, thank you, Kate, for the reminder to check. We've got -9 minus 10 times -5 equals 41. This one's this was a little bit tricky because we have to multiply first here. We've got a -10 times a -5. What's a -10 times a -5? Positive 50, right? So then we get -9 plus 50, which does equal 41. Okay, if you put -9 minus 50, that doesn't equal 41, so you might think you're wrong, but actually negative times a negative gives us that positive there. Okay, which is why a calculator is a great tool to help this if your mental math isn't all that great, right? If you plug this exact thing into your calculator knows exactly what it should do. You will get 41. And that's why you are able to use a calculator on this test. I don't want mental math to get in the way of knowing this process. So, Kylie. Yeah. So you would start by adding 4. Okay. So let's back up a little bit first. When we add 4 to both sides, what does our right side become? -11. Good. Okay. So now when you multiply by -6, which is correct because you're dividing in the original equation here, times -6, you get -11 times -6. Stays -6. Okay. Whatever you are dividing by, that is what you are going to be multiplying by. So -11 times -6 is a positive 66. Right? So, because you're better math students than I was, and I'm trying to instill proper math techniques here, plug that in to check it. Does 66 divided by -6 minus 4 equal -15? Well, 66 divided by -6 is a -11. -11 minus 4 is a -15. Okay. I'm going to adjust the schedule already for when your test is going to be. I really want to hit this hard, and we were kind of running out of time. So for Monday, I would love to play the number game with you on Monday. So for Monday, your homework is only those two. You have 4 days to do it. That's like half a question every day, and you'll finish on time. Okay? Folks, I need to see your work, and I need to see that you've checked your answer. Okay? Show the work and check the answer. Show the work and check the answer. So this means that on Monday, the second page of this objective will be homework for Tuesday. Tuesday will be the practice test. Wednesday we'll review. Thursday will be your actual test. Also due tonight, Khan Academy. Football sheet is out there as well. And so get that done before tonight's game. Mr. Robinson is still holding on to first place. I say holding on because I'm coming. I'm coming. Cade. No. Oh, no. But thank you for bringing that to my attention. Griffin. If you want to, give yourself an easier Monday evening and do the other page if you're feeling like you got this. But it's educationally to your advantage to give yourself a break. Come back to it later on. Your brain tends to remember things more. But if you want to do it, I'm not going to stop you. But what's due on Monday is those 2 questions only. Jeffrey. The prize? If you get a high score in any week, you get Schultz bucks. And if you get a high score in your class, you get Schultz bucks. If you get first, second, or third, you get more Schultz. And those are basically used at the auction at the end of the year. There'll be some kids who by test scores and by doing this and bingos and things will have hundreds of Schultz bucks and can basically buy everything if they really want to. So the work you're putting in now in these fun games and test scores and bingos, all those sorts of things will benefit you at the end of the year when you basically just get to leave with a whole bunch of stuff. And parents donate some pretty cool things for the auction. So put in the work now, reap the rewards later on. Wyatt. I do have physical ones, but I ran into people stealing them. So I now have, I keep them in your account in the Bank of Schultz. No, AKA Excel file. Kate. Test scores, football challenges, getting bingos. Those are basically the main 3. Oh, we're still recording. That's how math, folks.